Okay, back to morning Mishlei. And I'm gonna repeat what I wrote in the thingy. I really, I don't always like the fact that I remember the Mishlei pasukim. This one I remember a lot because it became part of my vernacular. So, Isaac, do you know my shot on this pasuk? I figured you'd be the most likely to know it. I don't know if you could talk.
Oh yeah, I said no.
Oh, you know? Okay, good. All right, good.
No,
Anyone
I
else
said
know
that.
the pasuk?
I said no. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. All right, good, good. So hopefully I'm the only one who knows it.
I think yeah.
Okay, all right, fine. All right, so we're gonna have to work on keeping my shot out of this and trying to see things from a fresh perspective. Okay, Ezra. Uh, Another one. Okay, so Be'in, this is 14:4. Be'in alafim evus bar v'rav tvus b'koach shor. Okay, so the weird words. Alafim in a vacuum we probably would have translated that as thousands. Okay, but this is actually I forgot to include the BDB on that. Hold on. The BDB. I just want to see if there are any other. Anyone know what alafim are here?
Legions.
That's a good guess, but yeah, it's you're misgendering them. It's I think it's actually bulls. This says cattle actually. All right, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Okay, I don't know. No, because the Matsudas ציון I believe says shvarim. Okay, but okay, fine. So in alafim with no cattle, let's say. Okay, answers my question. Are you a Nazir? Yeah, here, you can pass that down, please. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, shackle. This is lemon lavender insomnia cookies.
I mean, not.
Yeah. Okay. With no cattle, avus bar. So avus is they say a crib, which apparently is an archaic word for a trough. Yeah. So a trough or the other word in English that I found because I saw it in the English here is manger. So when I think of the manger, I think of Jesus, right? Right, exactly, right? Anyone else think of Jesus?
I've never heard the word manger in my life.
Yeah, manger.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, right, right. That's where.
I have manger thinking of some sort of dog. Like a manger
No,
dog.
that's. I think you're thinking of mangy. Yeah, yeah. So manger is a crib or a place where animals reside, I guess. Okay. So now no cattle, and then bar means clean or empty. So no cattle. I'm gonna go ahead and say I also translate it as trough. So I'm gonna say trough, but also say manger is clean. Okay, v'rav tuos b'koach shor. How do you translate that? Rov.
Surplus.
Yeah, but many tuos. No.
Produce.
Produce, yeah, much produce. Let's say much produce. Okay. B'koach shor is through the strength of an ox.
Wait, is this the pasuk?
Yeah, so that's why. So I asked in the beginning if you know my shot on this, then we're gonna try to expunge that from our minds. Okay, to try to. I mean, I'm sure I'll say my shot, but like we're gonna try to like don't be like oh I know what this means, and then and then just say my shot. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, they have all right here Evus bar. All right, so let's see what what our minimalist meforshim say. So Matsudas ציון says alafim are shvarim. Kamo shigar alafecha v'ashtros tonecha. Okay, that's I did not think of that. Evus, he says otsar hatavua. So the storehouse of produce. So like I guess a granary or a silo, right? Silo, I guess, right? I think military when I think of silo, so granary. Okay. Granary is where you keep the grain, right? Not where you thresh grain. Yeah. Okay. All right. Mr. Words here. All right. Bar is barur benaki. Okay. Clear and clean. Okay. So that is Matsudas ציון. Sadigon says. So Sadigon, I don't think we're gonna touch here, but I'll translate it anyway. He says, "Kumo shebeheder habakar yibatal habar." V'ribui hatvus b'kocho. So I didn't know what that meant when he says kamo, but then the Rav Kafech says hosif kamo ki shnei psukim kshurim yachad ukmo shekasav b'pirusha. So he says that the this is connected to the previous pasuk, and it's been so long since we did the previous pasuk that I don't even want to go there unless we have ample time. Okay, Targum says asar delays Torah Torah. Dachian urvasa v'suga dalata b'chalye de Torah. I think that's just a straight translation. Okay, and then I've added the malbim. Have I done this here before? I've added the malbim to our mix. I realize there's no reason why I shouldn't add the malbim's bir hamilos because he is a minimalist mefarish here. So he says alafim is hashvarim hamalumadim lacharosh. So he specifies it is oxen that are trained to plow. Shagar alafecha umilas be'ein nimshach l'shtayim. So the word be'ein applies to both words. Ein evus bar. That sounds different. Without, wait, lo nimsa bar bab. Okay, so I think he's learning bar. What's the other meaning of bar? Anyone know? Case in Bereshis?
Can it mean like food?
I think it means food also, right? With Yosef, right? Lishbor bar.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I think he's I think the Malbim is learning this to mean, hold on. Malbim is learning this to mean without trained oxen, I guess without oxen that are trained to plow in avus bar, the silo has no food, right? Yeah. So that's even stranger because then the second half just seems to be saying the opposite, right? But an abundance of produce is with the power of an ox. Okay, fine. So we got Art Scroll where there are no oxen, the trough is clean, but many crops come through the power of an ox. That's like verbatim what I had. Probably I got it from Art Scroll years ago. Rav Hirsch says where no cattle are, the manger remains clean. Much harvesting, however, he says harvesting, interesting, lies in the strength of an ox. Alter says without any oxen, the manger is clean, but there's much yield in the bull's strength. Okay, fine. I think I'm going to go ahead. I think those English ones are similar enough to ours that I'm just going to go ahead and.
Is the Malvin similar?
Oh no, not Malvin, but the English ones, the three here.
Can we also slap Malvin?
Yeah, we'll slap the Malvin on top, as the saying goes. Okay. All right. This Malvin here slaps Malvin. All right. Okay. What? Okay. Oh, and in case you missed it, I wrote my, hold on a second here. I'm just gonna put it above. I had my whole adventure with the Trader Joe's employee with the with Robert Alter. That was quite an adventure. You got to read about that if you haven't read about that. Okay. It's on Facebook and Instagram. Okay. What are the questions here? Yeah, Ezra?
Is bar a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, right.
How's the first half understood?
Yeah. Great question. Yeah. That's that was always Rabbi Moskowitz's first question in Mishlei. What the heck is going on here? This is a very precise question. Okay, so
just explain on that question.
yeah. So let's just say is the first half expressing a good thing or a bad thing or a neutral thing? Okay, just very vaguely, yeah.
I mean, of course, if you have no cattle, the truck will probably be clean.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, I mean.
Okay, so I think this is one where we should say,
go.
right, this is Ariel's question. Yeah, right. So this is the Ariel's question, which is, isn't this obvious? Okay. What is the Chiddush?
What's the connotation of
Ariel's question? Yeah.
Of the trough being clean? Like, is that a good thing? Like, you don't have to clean it, or like, is that a bad thing? Like,
here's the connotation. That's what I think that was what you were trying to get at, right? Yeah. What's the connotation of the trough?
Yeah.
Or let's just say the what do we call it? The avus. The avus being clean. I know the other pasuk what this comes from, by the way, is Yada Shor Kunehu. This is in the very beginning of Yeshayahu, right? I can't quote Yeshayahu. Yada Amilo Yisbanan. Yeah, but where's the something Avus Ba'alav? Is that in the first parak?
I thought it might be the sixth.
Yeah, it's the first Nevuah.
Can I add on to my
Yeah, just a second. Is it? Avus, hold on. No, maybe maybe it's the first pair, or is it Yirmiyahu? Here we go. Yeah, first pair. Yada shor konehu v'chamor. I forgot what animal it was. Evus ba'alav. An ox knows its owner. A donkey, its master's trough. Yisrael lo yada ami lo hisponan. My people, Israel doesn't know. My people don't understand. Do you want to add to your question?
Yeah, meaning like it seems like the opposite of that first half of the pasuk would be when you do have cattle, the trough is dirty.
Oh, okay, I think that is there deserves to be its own question. Okay,
Right.
is
So
how are the two halves opposites? Right.
two halves. Well, I would just focus on the first half of the pasuk.
Okay.
Meaning like the opposite of the first half of the pasuk, like the total extreme of that. Opposite is if there is cattle, the trough is dirty.
That's what I'm trying to get at with this. Is like the second half should say with cattle the trough is dirty.
Right.
Okay, or the first half, which the Malbim answers this, should say without cattle there are no crops.
Yeah, and so if you say that, then are you implying that like you should keep it dirty? It doesn't make.
Well, it depends on how you translate or how you take bar, right? If bar is empty or bar is clean, empty is implying lack of produce and clean is implying lack of dirt or filth. Yeah.
I was gonna say something similar to that, but isn't the second half just implicit from the first half?
Yeah. Right. So that one I would say is I compare. I feel like depending on what your starting point is, you'll either ask question 2 or question 3, which is like, can't you just imply like, hold on a second. Not only that, but the each half is arguably redundant since it can be inferred from the other half. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Ezra?
Yeah, why does it mention strength enough?
Okay, yeah. Why does it emphasize the strength of an ox? Isaac?
Yeah, what is the koach or like factually?
Factually speaking, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not the most agricultural guy, but you basically have 2 options when you plant, right? Either you dig and plant everything, or you use an ox and you attach a plow to it and basically guide the ox, and it digs for you with it could drag a very heavy plow and dig the furrows more efficiently, and also you don't have to get tired because you're carrying anything, right? You're just having it carry everything. I think that's what factor is. Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's why you get to rest from your labors.
That's why what?
I was making a Noah reference.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good thing for Noah. Otherwise he we're good? Good. Yeah.
Who's this addressing?
Yes. Who is the audience here? Who is the audience? Okay, obviously it's a farmer, but who Mishlei, I guess.
Really?
Yeah. Ezra?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Same thing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but just basically like is just giving us economic advice about farmers.
Okay, yeah. So what is the practical takeaway beyond the specific mentioned in the pasuk, right? And presumably this is not something that a farmer really needs to know. Like that's why there's an ox market, a thriving ox market. Yeah, Ezra?
What's the subject of the sentence?
Yeah, that's the Rabbi Moskowitz question. This is the Rabbi Moskowitz question, which is what is the subject of this pasuk? Very related to the previous question, because depending on how you define the subject, then you'll know what takeaway is emphasizing. Yeah, Chaim?
Yeah, maybe a little bit nitpicky, but why use the word also as opposed to just
all right. So we'll let's no, different shmarim. Okay. Minor question, which is why use these terms for the ox, right? So alafim Yeah, I definitely think, yeah, I definitely think that shiur is probably more common than alafim, I would guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Are,
Yeah,
are,
Isaac?
are Alephem and shiur the same thing, or is it
Okay, so
two
I'll
different things?
I'll tack this question on. Okay, so so if these are synonyms, is there a reason why each one is paired with each half? If they are non-nyms, I don't know if they mean different things. No, that'd be opposites, different things. Then what what does each mean? Yeah. No, it's not. That's why I made a face when I said it. Yeah.
What's the directness of this puzzle?
Ah.
What's the difference?
Yeah. So we'll call this the Meiri question. Okay, which is what is the Derech Nister? I actually am planning to go into Derech Nister. I mean, I don't have an idea yet, but because I have a shot for this pasuk, then I would like to find the Derech
This
Nister.
puzzle lends itself to nice Derech Nister.
Yeah.
I guess like I was half joking when I was like, "What's the Derech Nigla?" But like realistically, what's the Derech Nigla in Mishlei, such that he would like? And that's kind of like
Yeah, I think that's covered by that question, right? Yeah. Ezra?
Kind of part of the second question.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of the second question, but what's the Havamina of the puzzle?
Yes. What is the Havamina? What is the I said that in my head, but I was didn't know I was broadcasting.
So
Yeah.
just definitions. So when you say it's clean, are you saying it's just like full or empty? Like what is that?
Yeah. So I'll add
Is that
here.
not like clean and dirty?
Yeah. And like I guess I'm gonna say, what is the connotation of being bar? Okay. Is it like clean as opposed to dirty, or empty as opposed to full? Yeah. Right. I think those are the only two. I think. I mean, I don't know the only two, but definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Nucky is clean. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know why it says barur, which means clear. But yeah. Okay. I feel like those are the main questions. So what you got? That's not my shot. Yeah.
I have a thought.
So
I'm gonna go with Ezra first. Oh, actually, no, I'm gonna go Isaac first because he might get cut off by transportation. Yeah, Isaac.
Yeah. So I think first snow cattle. It says, "Oh, it's nice because I don't have to clean the trough," but he's missing out on something that's actually like a real good of like getting a lot of produce from having an ox.
Okay, so definitely first step here is that the Havamina is it's not really a Havamina, but it's like the trade-off that the guy's making is I don't have to clean the trough, right? And the pasuk, the second half is telling him, but you're going to get this huge benefit if you have the ox. But now the question still is like, what type of person is thinking this, and like, what's the mistake here? What's the foolish decision? But yeah, I think that's definitely a good start. Yeah. Ezra.
Yeah, I was doing it very similarly.
Yeah.
Like this is a pasuk trying to telling you to make worthwhile investments. Whereas like obviously the short probably costs a lot. And it like adds to like it makes things dirty.
Yeah.
It might seem like it doesn't have like such a great payoff. You might think like I'd be able to do it myself, like to plow a field. Like what are you gonna use the short for?
Right.
Plowing, right?
Yeah.
Like I can do it myself, but really if you want like a full granary, like you need to have
Okay,
equipment.
hold on a second. I forgot that my practice now is to take notes in Monday in my morning Mishlei shiur here. Okay, so Isaac was just saying that it's pointing out the like, hold on a second. True, there is a minor cost or like a detriment in having an ox, but the benefit outweighs that. Okay, and then Ezra is emphasizing the investment, which is that it is worth the investment of needing of the money and needing to clean the trough to get this benefit. Did I miss anything else in what you were saying? Okay. I thought of another question, another minor question, which is why is oxen plural in the first half and singular in the second half? And something about your idea brings that to mind, because I feel like the guy who says what you're saying the first half is, he's like, oxen cost so much money. Why are you talking about oxen? Like, talk about a specific ox. Like, it's kind of like if a person, let's say a person is on the fence about whether to get a car, and they say cars are so expensive. Well, there's no such thing as cars. There are individual cars and each one has its price. So like, there's already kind of like a mistake in that he's lumping everything into one category, and he's treating the abstraction as a thing. Isaac, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of the land of we all, right? From Richard Mitchell?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of a comic, which I don't know if I have, so I'm not going to try looking for it. Yeah. Yeah, Chaim?
Yeah, I kind of want to like answer the audience question. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like especially the things that Isaac and Ezra are saying like kind of point to it. And I'm forgetting what the lazy person is called in
Otzel.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's who he's talking to her. Talking specifically to an Otzel who is failing to see the bigger picture and is like shying away from the immediate, like using like Rosage
Yeah.
definition.
Okay. All right, good. So,
There's like an immediate pain here, and because of that, he's like, not only is he like not even going into it, like he's also like he's like he's also failing to see like the bigger picture and the greater outcome that'll come from the immediate pain.
yeah. So I think this is a good way to showcase Mishlei's definition of laziness, because I think if you use the normal definition of laziness, you'd be like, why doesn't the guy get an ox? If you're really that lazy, have the ox do all your work, But Mishlei's definition of laziness of being unable to tolerate immediate pain and conflict, the thought of cleaning up after the ox is going to deter him, Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this kind of laziness is that it ends up making you do more work also.
Right.
And then he's gonna end up working way harder in the field because he doesn't want to have to clean up after the ox.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Right. Right. So I mean, this preoccupation with the immediate conflict blinds him to the future pain he's going to have
Right.
from in the work, and also the fact that he's not making as much money, or he's not getting as many crops, means that it's going to put other pressures on his life that's going to create other immediate pain. An example of that idea, and I think he's okay with me saying this because I think he talked about it in his 100,000 subscriber video, but Johnny, for the first half of the growth of this channel, did everything on his phone, so he would sit there doing all the editing for hours on his phone. And I think he was deterred by the prospect of like paying money for, I think he had only used he had a Chromebook at the time. So like it didn't have the processing power to like edit the videos. So he was like, I'm not going to spend a lot of money to buy a computer, but like it ended up just generating so much more net pain and withholding like the benefit of, if you could invest all of that energy if he could take the energy that he was investing into editing on the phone and reduce it, he could put his energy more into like the more creative part,
Right, that's like
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading an article by Ramin Sethi about this. It was about the difference between price and value. He said that he offers a course, and he says that sometimes people ask him what's the price, and he says, if your first question is about price, then it's not for you, because then that means you're not thinking about the value you'll be getting.
You're not in the world of the value.
Yeah. And so, like if something's going to make you, $10,000, then any price that's below that, is reasonable.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, is that price is, that's similar to the mistake I was saying that the guy's making by thinking about this in the plural, is that he's attaching price is an abstraction. I mean, it's a reality as well, but like the fact that he frames it in terms of this abstraction that obscures his ability to see the actual value, that's the mistake, Yeah.
The way the first time the pasuk is framed, like how is it a negative? Like, let me ask that question.
It is no. So the way that we're saying, I think the way we're all saying it is that the first half is a positive.
So how are you learning the second half?
So the
That's
second-
what I'm struggling with.
Well, so the way I think we're all saying it just with slightly different emphases is if you have an ox, you're going to have a clean trough, meaning you're not going to have to clean up after this ox. So that's a good thing, but in the meantime, and I think it actually poetically fits nice or literarily because that's all this guy can see, right? So it's not emphasizing he's so fixated on I don't like cleaning up after oxen that he can only see that, and the second half saying yeah, but you're going to have a lot of wealth through this ox, and that's going to overshadow the detriment of cleaning
So
up.
instead of but, it's like an and.
No, I think but, because it's saying it's true that that you're gonna have a clean trough, but you can make a lot of money if you have an ox. Yeah,
And you're gonna work a lot less.
and you're gonna work a lot less. Yeah,
I mean, different kind of work.
right. Yeah. Okay. So should I say my shot? Okay, get it out of the way. Yeah, you have something else?
I'm just wondering if there's something to get into the. This is a bit psychological proof, but
Yeah.
The cleaning up after the ox is also viewed as a more of a demeaning kind of thing, maybe to the guy that he's I don't want to spend my time just shoveling ox poop or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather be doing something that's a little bit more I guess
Dignified.
yes.
Yeah.
Like plowing a field.
Right.
Nothing more dignified than that.
Nothing.
Just I wonder if there's something there also with that kind of cost benefit analysis.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I would lump. Right.
This stuff is below me. I'd rather do this other work.
Right, I would lump that under your laziness category as well, that there is a immediate pain and conflict from the physical labor and then from the psychological stigma, I guess. Yeah, Ariel?
Can I give a different approach?
Sure.
Like empty and full.
Yeah.
So I want to translate. I want to go with the first half of the pasuk is a negative and the second half is a positive.
Okay.
Meaning it's a little bit of maybe stretch, but if your trough is empty, even if you have no cattle, you can always have because back then it was more farmland and everyone had whatever, maybe back then it's almost like a good media to have it full for other people. It's you can in that respect generous and naturally creates an atmosphere where this is where the second half of the pasuk comes in. Look, if people if you give to other people, the strength much produces through the strength of an ox. Meaning maybe you can they'll recognize that, and if you need an ox, they'll lend it to you.
Okay, say it one more time. I think I missed the first step, and then that caught me off for the
okay, yeah.
part.
So the first step is it's better to have a non-empty trough for other people. Just because you don't have it, just because you don't have it doesn't mean there aren't.
Okay, and just factually speaking, empty of what?
Of the trough, meaning there's no water in the trough.
No water. Okay.
I think grain
the trough is that water.
So it is used for water as well, but I was thinking of it as a feeding trough. Yeah, but okay, fine. So you have no food in your trough for your ox, and that's.
It says you have no cattle, right?
Right.
So you have no cattle.
Right. So therefore, you don't have to feed them, right? Yeah. Right.
But you're limiting it to yourself. Meaning there are your neighbors.
Okay, right.
Other people.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so in other words, so tell me if this is what you're saying here, is that the first half describes someone who seeks to avoid cost or detriment for himself. Okay, yeah. It's true that he might be better off on an individual level. Okay, but if he were to expand his enterprise, it would be better for the society as a whole, and that would yield more ultimately even for him.
Yeah, and
it's like a tzaddik idea, Mishlei tzaddik idea.
Yeah, and the second half of the pasuk flows in naturally because look, maybe he needs an ox.
Yeah.
At times he may need an ox or whatever.
Yeah.
Having an ox or multiple oxes because maybe like, oh, they'll lend him an ox because of the good deeds that he already gave.
Yeah, I'll give you a Derek Nisser for that. Okay.
Come on way there.
Yeah. So Derek Nisser for that is that there are, I know a lot of Chachamim who teach, and then I know a lot of Chachamim who don't teach, right? And I think a lot of I mean, there's lots of reasons why certain people don't teach, but I think a lot of the barrier to entry is that people say, I'm gonna have to sacrifice my own learning time to like prepare this year to teach, And I think it's true that there are certain sacrifices that you have to make in preparing to teach that you wouldn't have to make in your own in your own learning. But the secret that all teachers know is that when you do that preparation, yeah, you are making a sacrifice. Your learning ends up being a lot better. You contribute to the society around you in learning that makes it a lot better. And that itself is better for your own learning. Like you let's say like Talmidim, having Talmidim is ultimately gonna be a lot better for your own learning. So yeah, the guy who's not filling a trough with shiurim, is doesn't have to worry about like cleaning up after the shiur, or whatever. But like the guy who is willing to incur that cost is going to end up like creating greater good for everybody. Okay, so here's my pshat, and I'm using this PowerPoint from 2020. Hopefully, it still holds up. I haven't reviewed it before this year. Oops, it's sharing the wrong screen. Sharing my student. Oh, there we go. Okay, all right. Whoa, all stuff going on my screen here. Weird. Hold on. Hide presenter view. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, yeah. So so there's this saying that people misunderstand. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And were you the one who said that you used to? Yeah. So what? You said okay, right? Yeah. Of course you can have your cake and eat it. Just have it, then eat it. But no. All right. So then, if I say you can't both have $100 and spend the same $100.
I say you can't eat your cake and have it also.
Okay, fine. All right. That is a clear thing. Okay, fine. Yeah. So the what do you call it? The mistake here is that there are people who will fall into ways of thinking where they think they can have their cake and eat it too, and it's impossible. And because they're yearning for the impossible, then they find themselves in conflict. In fact, I'm rereading now the best novel ever, in my opinion, East of Eden, and so I'm rereading it, and half of the novel is about really existing people. It's about John Steinbeck's family, and the other half is fictional. So John Steinbeck is talking about his mother, Olive Hamilton, and so she was very good at like denying reality. And he said that an example he gives is he said that once when she was presumably like in high school, then there were two dances that she wanted to go to, and each one was 20 miles like in the opposite direction from her house. And so in order to like she wanted to attend both of them. In order to attend both of them, she would have to travel 60 miles, right? And he said she refused to accept the reality, and she just sat at home crying and didn't go to either dance. What was that? It's like, yeah, the philosophical donkey, yeah, exactly, right? But this is a real human, So like that's the thing, is that people fail to see that there are certain the nature of cost benefit analysis is like if you want the benefit, you have to have the cost, and vice versa. Okay, all right. So hold on just a second here. Okay, so here's my diagram. Okay, so the simple idea, which the pasuk is not saying. Okay, I feel like I've actually shown this here before. Yes, it was not in the Mishlei shiur. It must have been in some other context.
I think we were in Q&A.
Oh, okay, yeah.
About, like, how do you,
that one makes sense. Okay, all right, fine. So you have the means, and then you have the end. Okay, and obviously you need to do the means in order to get the end. That part you don't need a Mishlei pasuk for. Okay, so in this case, it's very clear that you need an ox to plow in order to get many crops. Okay, and no farmer thinks he can get many crops by himself. That would be insanity. Okay, so you don't need a pasuk to teach you this. Okay, however, there's another category. There's the means and the end, and then there's the annoying byproducts of the means, which are responsibilities and consequences and costs which are necessitated by the means but don't directly produce the ends. So in our pasuk, you have using an ox to plow directly produces the crops. However, there are other things you have to do with the ox. There's ox food that you have to provide it. There's Ox-Filth, which is it dirties the trough, it dirties the barn, ox poop or whatever. There's ox upkeep. You have to take it to the doctor when it gets sick. You have to like bring it in if it's too cold or whatever. And no matter what you do, shoveling Ox-Filth doesn't make crops. Using the ox to plow makes the crops, but shoveling the Ox-Filth doesn't. Okay, so the fantasy is that I can have it's not a fantasy. I can have the crops without the ox, without plowing with the ox. But it is a fantasy that somehow I can get many crops without dealing with the annoying byproducts of the means. Okay. For example, this is my personal example, and now I think last time I said this, I wasn't teaching high school. Now I'm back to teaching high school. So preparing lessons is essential for teaching. Okay. So you can't teach without preparing. Okay, and I love teaching and I love preparing lessons. Okay, however, there's the Ox-Filth of teaching. Okay, there's dealing with angry parents, which I haven't had to deal with yet. There's grading, which is very annoying and time consuming, and not really should not be a part of learning. There's proctoring, which I don't have to do because I'm remote. Okay, but proctoring used to be a big thing of like, you're just spending hours doing nothing. Faculty meetings of just sitting there. There's lots of other things like that. In order to be a school teacher, then you have to deal with this stuff. And there's this fantasy that I want to be able to teach high school without dealing with any of these things. That is a fantasy that you can't have. Okay. Here's another example in the culinary world: making good food directly contributes to eating good food. Okay. However, there's the grocery shopping, the planning, the ingredients prep. For the record, PowerPoint, when it updated, it messed up the alignment, or when the fonts changed. Okay, I'm not so sloppy as to like leave fonts like that. There's the cleanup. Okay, so there are these things that that if you care about making good food, are not fun and they don't produce the food. But you can't do this unless you can't make good food. You can't eat good food unless you make good food, and you can't make good food unless you do all this, unless you are a top level chef, but then you have other Ox-Filth that you have to deal with. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. So the idea. So the idea in the pasuk is that you have to be able to identify this fantasy in yourself. When am I like faking myself out to believe that I can get a benefit without dealing with the annoying byproducts of the means? Okay, and you have to realize you can't do that, and that there is no world in which you can own a car and use it to drive places without having to deal with worrying about it getting scraped up, or like dealing with taking it to the mechanic, or there are all these things that don't directly contribute to you driving that you have to deal with. Yeah.
I was gonna add that also, like identifying these things and then working with them, it like takes away a lot of stresses.
Yeah.
All these things is like, how do I get, let's say, I don't know, for class, like how do I get through my homework as quickly as I can?
Right.
I just want to get this done so that I can go.
Yeah.
So else. And it's like, you have to like go through the pain of like doing like lefums are auger kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So this is why we weaponized this pasuk, or we operationalized it. So we coining the term Ox-Filth. This is such OF. This is such a and it happens to correspond to an English phrase that people use as well to describe Ox-Filth, but it's a Mishlei spin on it. Like I have to put up with all this Ox-Filth. And it actually ends up being good for the reason that you're saying, is that you can use it and like deal with it, and like you can categorize it and realize like it's just part of reality. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sean.
Also, I think tying into that, I think it also then pushes you towards gratitude of, oh, I have this thing,
right.
I'm able to accomplish all these things.
Yeah.
And if you can be grateful in that moment when you're doing whatever Ox-Filth
yeah.
is that you're doing,
yeah.
then it can make that Ox-Filth
That's
a lot
true.
more manageable and enjoyable.
Yeah, you got to learn to hug the ox. yeah. Okay. All right. So that is my my shot. So I think that still stands up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it very difficult to think of new ideas.
I know. That's why when you get a really good shot, then it could blind you. That's why the Rabbi Moskowitz forgetfulness is a blessing, that you forget all your good ideas. You have to come up with it again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Isaac?
I had a slightly different take.
Sure.
Which is that the person is making the other decision, saying that like choosing not being more of an atel and saying, I'm gonna not get an ox because I don't want to deal with the minor inconvenience of cleaning the trough.
Okay, I think I heard you, but
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the difference between that and the Atzel idea that Chaim said.
Oh, it's maybe the same idea.
Okay, yeah. Right. Yeah. He doesn't want to deal with we mentioned the inconvenience of cleaning the trough and then also the psychological pain of like, I'm going to be a Ox-Filth shoveler. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
clarity on
Yeah.
your idea. Okay, so you mentioned that there are there's a third category of the process.
The annoying byproducts of the means.
Right. So what? Okay, so is that the idea?
Yeah, the idea is that just like you can't have your cake and eat it too, you can't have the ends without dealing with the annoying byproduct of the means.
So it's just highlighting that. Okay.
Yeah, it's highlighting that, and it's giving you a category that the emotional havamina is I can get crops just by plowing with an ox. Yeah, but guess what? That ox in your mind doesn't produce filth, and those oxen don't exist. So like if you're yearning for an ox that doesn't produce filth, then you're just going to be sitting there like perpetually frustrated. Yeah. Chaim and then
It's like another, like, illustration.
Yeah.
It's like people who want to like climb the corporate ladder without climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
Like, they want to be the boss, but they never want to like work underneath somebody.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They don't want to go through like those steps. So it's like, why am I not the boss?
Exactly, yeah.
You're going to become the boss if you don't like you have to subjugate yourself to like.
Yeah. Now, I will point out though that there is a another Mishlei thing that I'm sure there are many other pasukim about is that I think James Clear says this in Atomic Habits that like people who are good at cultivating habits are just lazier than everyone, but they're just intelligently lazy, right? Because the people who don't cultivate habits have to put in all this effort to like individually doing things that they don't want to do. But if you just cultivate a habit, it'll become automatic, So there is a thing where like a person accepts the narrative that the only way to do X is to do it through Y and deal with annoying byproducts of Z, But there are other ways that a chacham will be able to see, can I diaper my ox, as it were? Can I find other ways to deal with, can I produce the end either through different means, or can I come up with systems to deal with the annoying byproducts of the means so that I don't have to deal with it in the normal way?
Maybe that could be the chiddush to an add-on chiddush to what your idea.
Yeah, it's add-on chiddush to my idea. I don't think the chiddush is in the pasuk because I think there are other pasukim about that, but I think it's added application chiddush. Yeah, Sean?
Yeah, I would add also, I think that's this mentality that allows people to undervalue certain workers and say that, this work that this person's doing is not valuable, and then dehumanize those people. And so appreciating that whatever it is that you're successful in is only possible through the work of all these people.
That's a great point.
I think it's a great way of humanizing other people.
Yeah, that is a great point. And I'll give an example from not current high school teaching, but in other high school teaching. I think it's very easy for people to undervalue like the custodial staff, and when do people realize the value? When they're not there, and then you have to deal with all of the student filth, but because you only notice it when you're inconvenienced by it, then you don't cultivate it as positive gratitude. And so I think realizing that, picking up garbage doesn't teach students, right? But picking up garbage makes it possible for teachers to engage in the actual means, which is towards the end of education. And therefore you have to value, those parts of the system also. Yeah. Okay. So just to quickly review before we end for today is we had Isaac and Ezra both had similar ideas of how you think about the cost benefit analysis. I feel like we don't have a clear chiddush, but there's potential for that. We had the idea about you're so blinded by the price tag that you can't see the value. Okay, I'm going to write that here, is don't be so blinded by the price tag that you can't recognize the value. Okay, that's Ramit Sethi. And then Chaim's idea about the laziness preventing you from seeing future conflict that you're generating for yourself and lack of future benefit. Ariel's idea about the benefit to the system, and then my idea about the means and the ends and the annoying byproducts of the means. So tomorrow, let's try to get as many new ideas from meforshim as possible. Okay, very good. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yep.